Hello, YouTube land, and welcome to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 73. I am your host, Dantes, and of course, joining me like always, Caleones. How you doing, Caleones?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? And like today we were actually like trying to scrape for news. There weren't any like really big announcements. We had the Game Awards, and we had the DLC review and things like that to talk about on the previous podcast. So on this one, it was a little bit difficult, but we got I think a pretty cool amount of topics to talk about and some news to share as well. So Dantes, just go ahead and get it started. Today might be a pretty short podcast. So let's see what happens. Unless we got a lot to express when it comes to the topics.
Yep. What's up, Dick? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Let's do a little bit of house cleaning to clarify the end of the year. We haven't put a lot of content in December because, again, end of the year is harder for us at work. We have vacation coming up. It's a lot of stuff going on. So it's been. We apologize that we're not hitting the schedule at all right now. But it's December. So what we'll do for the rest of the year is we'll have in the next 2 weekends, which is the weekend before Christmas and the weekend just before New Year's, we'll do two special Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcasts that we're going to pre-record. One of those episodes are going to be our top 10 Switch games. To clarify, the reason we want to do that is we want to do every year, we want to compile the best of the best. And then now you have 2 years of games for the Switch. So we want to see how our list changes, right? And Caleones and I are going to go toe-to-toe, and we're going to pick top 10. We're going to fight it up. It's not going to be Caleones going to give his top 10, and I'm going to give my top 10. No, we have to agree where each game goes, and that's going to be the interesting part before we record the video. So expect that next week. The other Nintendo, what was the other one? I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, you said that we're gonna talk about the top 10 game. I mean, of the year, we're gonna have the Force In Unison special, talking about the good, bad, and ugly side of video game companies, Nintendo and Sony.
Wait, I
for the most part.
So,
And
the other one is going to be our top 5 Switch games of the year. So, this year, 2018, me and Caleones are going to pick 5 each. And we're going to say what was our top 5 Switch games for the year. That's the 2 special Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. But we also are going to do 2 specials on each Saturday, next 2 Saturdays, where Caleones says, a Force In Unison special. We're going to call it Force In Unison streams just to keep it up. But it's 2 specials. One, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of our favorite company. So Caleones is going to talk about Nintendo. I'm going to talk about Sony. And then we'll see how that goes. And then we'll see if we agree or disagree in what we like about each company. And then the other is our most wanted games for next year. So Caleones and myself bring 5 top games that you want the most for next year. What are we excited for next year? We're already close here to 2019. So we're going to crack that up. And the last show that you're going to get pre-recorded. And I want you guys to watch it, please, if you can. It's a pilot of something that may be a staple in the future, but I need your feedback. And the show is called Dantes Boiling Point. Boiling Point. And me and Caleones are kind of finishing the touches how we want the show to be. And hopefully you will have that pilot 24th. So that'll be the following Tuesday, the 24th, just before Christmas. That's my Christmas gift to you guys. We're going to do that. Again, just wanted to do a little bit of house cleaning, making sure what we plan to do once we return in January. You may see some changes in the channel. For now, we'll keep on the schedule. But anyway, let's do that rigmarole quickly so we can start the show. I want to welcome everybody to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can get this podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, don't go to the description box below. Ignore it. Just follow what I just said. Also, Facebook page at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to forceinunison.wordpress.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, are you ready, Caleones? I said, are you ready? For the no one in attendance. And the 7 people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's Hot Topics of the Week.
My body is ready.
My body's ready. Take it away, Caleones. What's the first piece of news?
Yeah. I mean, I want to disagree. That your body doesn't seem ready. It seems like it's still hungry, and just chirping away on those chips. But I mean, just to start with our first main topic, and of course, it's going to continue with Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and the onslaught of sale that he's been doing worldwide. So last week we were talking about there were certain estimates about the sales that it had done during the first 3 days in Japan, and we actually have confirmation this week that it sold a little over 1.2 million copies in its first 3 days of it being available. So because the game came out on Friday, and they say the first week sales, but the first week sales are actually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it sold that amount during those 3 days. So it's still like we said, it is an exceptionally big number. It is the first non-Pokemon game ever by Nintendo that it sold over 1 million copies, and it's actually the second highest ever in its first 3 days. So even though Pokemon Let's Go had broken the record for the first week sales for a Nintendo title, this actually more than doubled it. So it's been doing amazing, and I mean you can't really ask for anything better than this. So Dantes, how impressed are you about this, and do you think this is something that can continue?
Oh yeah, it will. I'm still eating the chips. Just to say, a couple of, I played the game a little bit. Early impressions. This is really early impressions, and because I'm still kind of fighting in easy. Just to one, I'm not a good Smash player, so I need to get used to the controllers, and two, I'm trying to open just characters and get all the characters out. I'm up to 60. So I'm chugging around, getting close to all the characters.
Well, do you already have your favorite characters out?
Oh yeah, I got Shulk, I got Cloud. I got those are the two. But you know what? That King Karul, that guy's a beast. I'm telling you. With Shulk, there was time because once you open characters and they challenge you, the characters as you beat them, they become harder and harder and harder. And with Shulk, at one point I was kind of losing some of the fights, so I have to wait for rematch. And then I'm starting to use King K. Rool, and I barely lost any fights against the challengers, Caleones, and that thing is like a freaking tank. It has great recovery if they send you off the platform. I was like, damn, I can get used to the power of that damn character. But I still want to practice more with Shulk. Shulk is more technical, that's the problem, and he's weaker too. So, like, when you get hit by criticals, he flies longer if you're not wearing the Monado Art tank. And that is tough because then you have to switch between your arts. But I have to say that this game, I felt it faster, Caleones. It's way faster compared to the Wii U version. It also faster in the match, too. I don't know if you felt the same, but it seems like the damage output goes up faster, too, almost to end the matches quicker. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know. That's how I feel right now. I don't know if I have a setting somewhere that is high output on damage, but it just feels that matches end way faster.
Yeah. Okay. But actually, I'm asking you about that specifically because you said the matches are end a lot faster than they do, or at least they feel like they do when compared to the Wii U version. So that one of the biggest complaints from some people is that you don't have all the characters unlocked from the very beginning. That you have to play the game and unlock them little by little. I mean, there's certain ways that you can do it faster, so you can get them done. So and there's a video that you shared in like an hour and a half. Yeah, but the complaint is still there. So do you think it's a little bit justified for those people that the matches can start and end pretty quick? So that way the output of characters that you are unlocking, it's faster than it would on the other game. So how do you feel about that?
I don't know if it's that. I'm concerned that once you open the characters, if it's a setting, please write me in the chat if you guys feel that I'm messing up. It's a setting that I don't know about. But it just feels that the matches is gonna be just gonna fly out, and when you have a big group of people fighting, you kind of want the match to kind of settle in, and it lasts a little bit longer. It just feels that the hit output goes way bigger. If they hit you with a crit, what I'm talking is A, and you holding the A and directional A, and you're hitting with a crit, the power output goes up fast. Like in other strategies, you could say. Here's my concern. Let me explain. And I may be wrong. I'm not a Smash expert at all. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But it feels like in the past, when you play the Wii U version, you started off with just light attacks first, and you're like building up that power meter, and then you started using the major attacks with once you got closer to the lift up range. And in this one, you can do that. And then if that other person hits you with a couple of powerful attacks, it just builds the meter just way faster than the old days. That's how I feel. I don't know. I'm not an expert Smash player. So then the strategy is, it almost gives chances to people who are a little bit bad, like me, to hit a couple of home runs by miracle and then still maybe win the battle, even if you're getting your ass kicked, right? So that's how it feels to me. I don't know. But still, I have to say the gameplay is fast. It's fluid as hell. The game is fluid as hell. The game looks good too. Characters look good. The graphics look good. I think it's one of the best Switch-looking games. Of course, a fighting game is easier to do that, but still, you have to give credit where credit's due. It's a good-looking game. And me getting the characters out, doing it in classic mode plus the trick, that's fun. I think it helps. Enjoy. So I have enjoyed my little time that's spent with Smash. So the reason why I said all that and kind of giving my impressions, since Caleones gave his impressions last week, is that I think there's something magical about this game, Caleones. Like, I did not felt the same magic playing the Wii U version. There was something off about the Wii U version. That it did not feel as smooth. It did not feel as tight. It did not feel as technical too, because there's way more technique in this game, I believe, compared to the Wii U version. And there's something magical about this Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like Sakurai did something else in the gameplay. He tweaked it just enough that it completely feels like a different game, and it feels really good as you play. So that leads me to my point that this game is gonna keep selling for two reasons. Word of mouth is gonna be strong with this game. Like, people who've dropped on Smash, let me just say people like from Melee, the Melee days and stuff like that, they probably don't play Smash. They only play Melee because they feel strongly that that's the best Smash or X, Y, and Z. They're going to get, from the Smash community saying, dude, no, you have to come. You have to play this Smash. This Smash, maybe it's not as good technically as the old Smashes, but it's fun as hell. It's fluid as hell. There's a challenge to it too. Like, Sakurai, I think, finally found the balance, maybe in this game. I may be wrong. Again, I'm not an expert Smash player, but the balance of make it casual, but make it also for hardcore professional players. You see what I'm saying, Caleones? So I think because of that word of mouth, and this this game has a 93 on Metacritic too. Should not eat chips before a podcast. So this game is also a 93 in Metacritic. It shows you how good it is too. So I feel word of mouth is going to help it. And, which we're going to lead into the DLC characters, but we're not going to touch it yet. You also got DLC characters, and he was really smart, damn it, by Nintendo to the first character be the Joker. Yeah, I know. I need to leave the salt up. I know there's some Dallas Cowboys fans really salty today. I'm sorry. But the DLC character showing Joker first was really smart, because now the expectations of people are going to go way high for the game. Now, I'm concerned because now I'm going to hear on every freaking direct, where's Smash? What's the next Smash character? Wah, wah, wah. It sucks, but at the same time, Nintendo knew what it was doing this, because the expectation now is high and people are going to buy the game. People who were not planning to buy the game, that they're fan of Persona, to give you an example, they're going to buy the game. So there's going to be a character for everyone, I believe. So answer to your question, kind of, this is one of those games. It's going to be up there with your Mario Kart, with your Breath of the Wild, with your with your Mario Odysseys. This game is gonna keep selling, and depending on other characters, I could see it really selling like really. Like I believe this could end up being the top selling Smash game of all time, and that's saying a lot, right? To clarify, by a single console, because I don't include the Wii U and the 3DS version together, because then that will always forever be the top selling Smash of all time. But I think this version alone, like a console version, this could end up being the top selling Smash game of all time. Anyway, Caleones, anything you want to add and say? You impressed with this sales? You feel that the game is gonna keep selling so well?
Well, I mean, the game it will continue, and it especially has to do with what characters are going to end up being on the DLC. Like you said, that's something that we're going to be touching on this podcast as well, thinking about what are the characters that can maximize the sales of the game by being announced. So we already had one of those, coming from the Persona series, and I think they nailed it. Like you said, just because they announced that character, it was out of nowhere. It seems like it's perfect for the game, and now it raises the expectation because at least people are not going to be asking for Waluigi, to join the game because they're going to be expecting to them to be like third-party characters instead. So that's be huge. Like my favorite character is not going to be on Smash. He's probably going to be on Mortal Kombat 11, which is Spawn. But at least we can keep it center. It's going to be with more than likely big Japanese companies or maybe certain companies that they can make agreements on depending on what they can give and take based on that. But I believe that we saw the increase themselves. I'm still waiting to see how this week, and we're gonna have to wait until Wednesday to see how the console sales increase, and then the following week, it is probably going to be the biggest week in sales of consoles, for the Switch's lifespan in Japan. So it's probably going to break the record that it was already from last year since when the console was launched. So what I'll say is that I expect to continue. I don't think it's going to sell, a million copies every week, but I believe that it's probably going to end up, depending on how many Switch consoles sells. I can see a pretty good, probably 15 to 20% of the people that own a Switch buying the game as well, and that's depending on how high it gets. It can be somewhere around the 12 to 15 million copies sold, and that's going to be huge because Nintendo, they don't really discount the games. Pretty much for the entire lifespan of the system is going to be more than likely a $60 title. Maybe it's going to be under the Nintendo Selects at some point. I don't know, but and this is something that we already talked about before. It's just going to go ahead and continue making them so much money because it is not really something that they spend a lot of money in. This is not God of War or especially Red Dead Redemption type budget for the game. This is a smaller budget, but a bigger output when it comes to sales. So either way, even if they don't sell 15 to 20 million copies or more, they're still going to be making bank with this game.
Yeah, they are. And there's some mini news that we're going to talk later about the attach rate for Nintendo games, at least on the Switch. But anyway, with that said, let's lead into our next subject, which is what characters could be, and this is that we don't have a list, so we're just gonna bounce back and forth, and we're gonna say characters, and we'll see how it goes. But Caleones, I'll let you start first because I know you already put it in the thumbnail. Kind of like what was the first character that you feel is gonna be a big bang for your buck? But go ahead, Caleones. What would be the first character you would put in? Now, to clarify, to explain to the people watching, this is only third-party characters. Only third-party characters. We're not thinking about Nintendo characters at this time. Go ahead, Caleones.
Well, so the rumors that are circulating right now, and they're saying that, and this is a rumor. It hasn't been confirmed. It seems like the news are coming from the same source, so it's not different sources confirming the character, but they're saying that Erdrick from the Dragon Quest series, and I believe he was she was the hero of the first 3 games, I believe, is going to be coming over to Smash. If that happens, you know that like here or around the world, and not lately because the Final Fantasy games they have been suffering a little, but Dragon Quest is a lot bigger than Final Fantasy in Japan. It is huge. When a Dragon Quest game comes out, it is the equivalent of what Monster Hunter did this year, Monster Hunter World. It is something that sells over 1 million copies. Everybody is all over the game. Everybody is going to be getting it. Your guys are going to see it this coming year in 2019 when Dragon Quest 11 finally comes over to the Switch, and I believe that it's going to sell really well, even though the game's already available on the PS4. But if that character were to come out, we're probably going to see a couple of 100,000 people rushing to get the game. And if they don't own a system, they will be going out and buying the system. So something that big that could compare to something like that, it is hard to kind of like think about it because Dragon Quest is the biggest series, and we cannot use that the Dragon Quest series in a way because of the rumor. So they kind of like stole one of our predictions right there. But you got to start thinking about the biggest franchises, and one of those that I said is Monster Hunter, and I believe I'm not gonna be talking about the species because I'm gonna get it wrong. But the playable characters. So you have the cats from Monster Hunter.
Yep.
I believe those could be one of the DLC characters to be announced.
Okay. I kind of defer in this case, right? If Capcom is smart, right? Okay, I don't know. If Capcom is smart, right? Why would you promote? Okay, let me put it this way: if Capcom would be smart, I believe a third-party character that could be in there would be Dante for Devil May Cry, right? If Capcom would be smart, I would like to see Dante from Devil May Cry because right now we have Bayonetta there, right? And Bayonetta is already has that DNA from Devil May Cry. Against Camilla was the creator of Devil May Cry when he was in Capcom before he joined Platinum Games.
And we predicted here, or at least I did, and you probably joined in, that she's going to be the next character to join in on the Castlevania / Devil May Cry universe. You're going to see that soon.
Yeah, your prediction, yeah. But what I would say this: Capcom, this game's gonna come out, and right now with Joker showing up, Nintendo is willing to take characters who are not in their system right now to promote, to help sell Smash. Now, there's a chance that Persona 5 is gonna show up now because there's a chance. But it's still not announced. It's probably at least a year away, Caleones. Let me put it that way. Maybe Persona is at least a year away before it shows up on the Switch, right? So Nintendo was willing to put a character with no tie because Persona, like it or not, it is tied to the PlayStation brand. Persona has always only showed the mainline Persona, to clarify. Nintendo has got some Personas, side stories on systems. But I'm saying the mainline Persona has always been a PlayStation exclusive franchise. So Nintendo knowing that character is tied up to Sony in a sense, at least for people. It's like Snake. Snake is also another character who's tied up to kind of like the Sony DNA, Caleones, but he was in Smash, right? And there hasn't been a Metal Gear Solid since Metal Gear Twin Snakes on the Nintendo console, right? So Nintendo has been willing, if it makes sense, to put characters like that, even if they have no tie to the system. So why not Dante from Devil May Cry? Capcom would get promotion for the new DMC that is coming out, and then maybe they're going to work with Nintendo to find a way to port over the Devil May Cry 5 to the Switch, Caleones. So to me, that would be my preferred character from Capcom that would show up in this third-party DLC. Any other characters that you would like to show up, Caleones? Big bang for your buck.
Well, it's I mean, of course, there's other people talking about Microsoft characters coming over, and I would like for that to happen too. But kind of would like for the Microsoft character to be like a separate DLC, kind of like the Microsoft DLC Pack 2 or whatever for Smash. And I would love if out of those, like any characters that you can get from Microsoft right now, if I would like for one of them to be included, of course, it's going to be Banjo, but I don't think Banjo would be big enough. Yes, he's going to be big enough for Nintendo fans, but more than likely, those Nintendo fans already got the game. So it's not going to be like, like you said, Persona characters where Persona, the main games are not on the Nintendo system. There's no Persona games on the Switch right now. And I know Persona is kind of like a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei, and there is supposed to be Shin Megami Tensei 5 coming out in 2019 for Switch, but still, uh, Persona has been previously on the 3DS games, and there's a big Japanese fan base for it. Banjo, I mean, the games kind of died after they went over to the Xbox. You haven't really seen anything else, and pretty much the only thing tying you to the Banjo games is nostalgia for the Nintendo 64. So I don't think there is a big fan base from people that don't own the game. Yes, it's probably going to sell pretty well with people that already own the game. We probably will get it as well because we kind of want to have the full roster of characters on there, but I still keep going back to like Capcom, and even this one is pretty much by this point it's kind of obscured. It's a franchise that was really good in the on the PS2 era, and it came out on the GameCube as well. But I would love for Beautiful Joe to be featured on there as well, and I think there's a possibility for that one.
I both of them, Beautiful Joe and Banjo Kazooie. I don't think that would be big enough bang for Nintendo's buck. I think it's gonna be nice to have, like you said. I would like Beautiful Joe. I love Beautiful Joe, the original Beautiful Joe, on the PlayStation 2 and
Yeah,
GameCube.
but
To
it
clarify,
but
and
it would be kind of like a tie-in because we're talking about characters that probably have a game tied in. So Joker from Persona probably has Persona 5 tied in to come to the system. If we're talking about Beautiful Joe, I mean, there's a possibility that we may get the Beautiful Joe games tied in and coming over to the system as well. So
yeah, but
that's
Beautiful Joe
why.
is kind of that. I don't know. I disagree with that pick, Caleones. I don't know. We shall see. Like, to me, Dante from Devil May Cry makes a lot of sense because right there's hype around Devil May Cry. There's hype about Persona right now. Uh, but but I don't know. Banjo Kazooie. I think there's a higher chance for Banjo to show up, just for the ties to Nintendo. Right. I think that makes more sense. I disagree with Beautiful Joe. Let me put one character there. I was thinking, like from each company, like outside companies, who would you want? Like we mentioned Capcom a lot. We just mentioned Final Fantasy, but I would love to see. This is me, right? Since the Final Fantasy games finally came to the Switch, you had 7, 9, and 10 coming into the Switch, right? And you have a Kingdom Hearts showing up soon, right? I think it makes a lot of sense either. I'm gonna mention two. Either Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII shows up because you got Cloud already there, and a lot of people would love to see that fight between Sephiroth and Cloud on Smash. But if that's not possible and you want to promote the game, Sora from Kingdom Hearts makes a lot of sense too, Caleones. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. So.
Well, I would say that I would love for Sephiroth to be on the game, and I would love to have an eco fighter based on Sephiroth and make that Vincent. So I think that would be a pretty good combination to have on there. But yeah, I mean, the only thing about that is that there seems to be like when it comes to Square Enix, and that's why Dragon Quest, if it happens, is going to be a big surprise. But it's because how they treat their IPs, how I mean, on the game you right now, yes, you have Cloud, but at the same time, you only have two songs from the game. You have the same voice of Cloud from the from the Japanese voice, so they don't do the English dub or anything else. And they don't really give you the freedom to work with those as like other companies are giving you with other characters. So if it happens, it's going to be a big surprise. But I don't see it happening. For the game. Yes, you could very well feature it because you already have Cloud in there, and I would love to have the amiibo figures of Sephiroth, especially with the wings if that were possible. And that would be pretty good move whenever you're falling and you do the up B, and you try to like
Escape.
fly fly over to the stage. And so yeah, that would be pretty cool for those wings to open up and be able to do that. But as far as other games,
Let's do one more round. Let's do one more round of
well,
third-party games. Just pick up
and I
one, and I'll pick up one.
I'm gonna have to go back to Microsoft, and I would love to have Conquer.
Yeah. No.
Conquer.
There's no gain
I
on that, Caleones. We're thinking about characters that would make help the Switch or help Smash Bros. Keep selling, right?
Well, okay, so Microsoft, they said, they were talking about Game Pass. They were talking about how they want Game Pass to be featured on other systems as well. Aside from having Game Pass, that gives you the ability not only to have Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox games on there, but it could very well give you the opportunity to feature those, Nintendo 64 games from the Rare era on the Nintendo. We know that, and that's something that I believe we do not have on our news, and that's that. Well, actually, we do, and that's something we're going to talk about later on about the NES and Super NES Classic. Basically, once they sell out, they're gone, which means that there's a possibility that they're going to start featuring some of those games on the Nintendo Switch Online, library. So we might start seeing the Super NES game. We might start seeing maybe N64 games and such. So what that would do is open up the possibility of having that library of games from Rare on the Switch, and maybe even at some point some HD versions or remasters or things like that. And I'm saying because Microsoft is very open of having games featured on other consoles as well, and because of the relationship currently between Microsoft and Nintendo, maybe it's not going to be Microsoft and Sony, but Microsoft and Nintendo, it's a bigger possibility for something like that to happen.
Okay, I'm gonna end mine with kind of like pie in the sky, right? And what I mean with that pie in the sky is, so this Game Awards, you had all of them showing up and being like hugging and kissing and like, oh my God, for the community, we're together, and so, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo in the same stage, right? So to me, to end this, right, I would think if you really want community union and you can show it, and Nintendo can get it done, and what better way for Smash, and then you get some licensing fees too, right? Because Smash, what kills you probably that is expensive for Nintendo is the licensing fees. That has to kill you probably. The game doesn't cost much, but I was thinking just now, licensing fees could be the one area where Nintendo does need to sell a lot of, games to be able to make money, because they do have a lot of licenses in this game. Unless some companies maybe like, I'll give you an example. Square gives you Cloud just because, hey, let's promote some of our games. I don't know how that works. But I would like that Nintendo would add at least one Sony and one Microsoft's third-party IP. And I would put Kratos from God of War and Master Chief from Halo in Smash. That would really show community in the gaming community. And then you have those two third-party characters duking it out with Nintendo characters. I think it makes a lot of sense. Master Chief could be really close to Samus, Assisi Echo Fighter, and then Kratos with the chains of Olympus, right? I think that could be cool, because then you can do an Echo Fighter kind of similar to like Richter and Simon Belmont. So there's you already got the template, so it would be easier to implement what those two characters in Smash, right? But that's it. I think that's our dreams in the sky. Those are third-party characters. It's already 35 minutes from the first topic, so I know we said that we're going to be a small show. But, Caleones, let's move on to sales because, the Switch sold really well in Black Friday in November. Can you go ahead with that?
Yes. So we already talked about Smash Brothers, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate selling in excess of 1.2 million units in Japan in the first 3 days. But not only that, the Nintendo Switch system was able to sell or go over the 6 million units. Right now, they're at
you jump. Remember the possible MPDs for the month of November. $1.3 million consoles sold by all three of them. So
okay, so that one is actually a little far ahead on mine. But yes, talking about the MPD, and this is when it comes to the MPD, it's not Japan, it's not Europe, it is the US. And they were talking about how the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One, and of course the variations, of course, like the Xbox One S, Xbox One X, talking about the PS4 Pro and such, but that each console sold over 1.3 million in the during the holiday season. So and the month of November. I'm sorry. So one that is huge, but the biggest news, and this is of course for Nintendo fans, is that Nintendo was actually the only one to increase the amount when compared to last year. So they actually sold more than during the same portion of 2017. The only thing is that PlayStation 4 is perceived to be coming in as number one, with the Nintendo Switch closely following it at number 2, and then the Xbox One at number 3.
Okay, so talk quickly about sales. I know Puerto Rico looks like did not go through the to the finals of Miss Universe, which sucks. But to quickly go through it, so I think the first takeaway that you have to take out of this, Caleones, is that all of them sold really well. I think November, people were buying games, people were buying consoles. To its credit, I know Caleones said I had a little bit of fun. Caleones felt that Nintendo had a good chance of beating Sony the full year based on these last 2 months. I told Caleones, you have to be careful about that Spider-Man bundle. So I think with Sony taking November basically means that there's no way Nintendo will be able to catch up to Sony this year on the sales of the MPD. So Sony is going to win the year, which is fine. But to its credit, Caleones is still like struggling with that. Take it easy, Caleones.
The year's not over. The year is not over.
Oh, yeah, they're going to win December by like a lot of millions. Yeah, exactly, Caleones. But anyway, realistically, looks like Sony's going to win the year. But I don't want to take away to clarify for the Nintendo platform, because you have to see it this way. Nintendo was able to sell that much consoles, and still they haven't lowered the price. So people are buying the system based on, they offer a game. Yeah, they offer Mario Kart. That's a good bundle, I believe. But it's still not lowering the price. Sony and Microsoft, because Microsoft sold really well, they were giving you bundles at $200 with a game included. So they were selling their console like really cheap, $150 basically. I knew that Spider-Man bundle. As soon as that came out, I said, oof, that thing, oh my God.
The Walmart bundle was actually even better. It was $199 for the PS4 with Red Dead Redemption 2 and an additional controller as well.
So there was multiple bundles like that, right? And Microsoft had the Minecraft bundle too, $200, right?
And sadly they had the Fallout 76 bundle as well.
Yeah, rough on that one. That's what probably they lose. But still, the news here to take is they were all close together. They were close. Like Sony won barely. Nintendo again grew in hardware, which is great from year to year. And to clarify, I've never been a big fan of that stat, because I feel that like Microsoft comes out and says, our consoles sold 250% more than this time last year. Well, if your console last year sold only 100 consoles and then you sell now 250 consoles, then okay, it's increasing 150%. Youpie-doo. So that's fine. That's good, and that's a good stat for PR, to clarify. The reason I say that is because Sony and Microsoft are already been there, done that, and it's the end of the generation. This is Nintendo's time to shine. And honestly, Caleones, Nintendo needs to sell as much as they can right now before Sony and Microsoft drops their PS5 and Xbox 2 or whatever it's called, the next one. I truly feel, this is a prediction, I may be wrong, and I feel the Switch is a strong enough console that it will survive, Caleones, to clarify, because it is a good console. It is a damn good console. I was saying it today when I was unlocking characters. I was watching the football game while unlocking characters, right? So that's pretty cool. But I do feel that the sales of the Switch are going to take a hit when the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox 2 come out, just because of the excitement of a new generation, Caleones. There is going to be a hit. There's no doubt about it. Every console goes through that. So Nintendo needs to sell. They need to drop hitters after hitters as much as you can next year. Next year is key for Nintendo. Sell console, sell, because those two monsters are coming, Nintendo, so you better sell the best that you can. But anyway, to end, happy for all three of them. Good thing that everybody sold really well. And I think Nintendo's a big winner because they're not selling your console. They're not selling the console right now cheap compared to the other two. So.
Okay, so we're talking about how there's a possibility that next year the PS4, the PS5 and Xbox 2 could launch,
it's gonna come out.
or that they can be announced. So at least people are gonna be saving their money and preparing for that. So do you think next year is gonna be a good year for either one of two? One, for Nintendo to drop the price of the Switch to maybe $249.99, or for Nintendo to announce the Switch Pro with better screen, better battery life, and something like that. So what do you think is Nintendo should do for 2019 or maybe for 2020, depending on what year is when you think that they should make a change?
So price drop should not happen next year. They don't need to. The systems are not gonna come out next year, and if they come out, I'll be really surprised. I think PlayStation. Everybody learns from everybody. So PlayStation saw how Nintendo was successful launching in a March. I believe that the time frame of PlayStation 5 is going to be March of 2020. That's my prediction. They'll release it close to the same time frame as Nintendo did with the video or something like that, or like a presentation. Then they'll officially unveil the PlayStation during PSX next year. And then March of next year is you're gonna see the new PlayStation 5. That's my prediction. So the reason I lay that out is because I feel Nintendo does not need to drop the price of the Switch until March. This is exactly what happened. Let me clarify. People know history. The 3DS was struggling. The 3DS was doing awful, right? And they look back for Nintendo at one point. The Vita came out, and the Vita with the better specs and blah, blah, blah. Everybody was like, oh, my God, this machine is a beast. This could take the crown off, finally, of handheld gaming. The mistake that Sony did, of course, was the memory cards. They were proprietary, and they were expensive as hell. So that really didn't help it. But Nintendo was smart. The day that Vita was released, or the month that it was released, Nintendo lowered the price of the 3DS. I believe by $100. If my memory doesn't fail me, Caleones, you tell me if I'm off.
It was, I believe, it was by $70. Something like that. From $249 to like $179 or something like that.
Something like that. So they did a big price drop just when the Vita was releasing, and then boom, we're off the races. Nintendo took all the luster away from the Vita. Now, people would say, "Oh, that's bad." No. This is business, people. Nintendo had to do what Nintendo had to do to make sure that the 3DS was the clear winner. So I believe Nintendo needs to play the same tactics, Caleones, and they need to lower the price the same month that the PlayStation 5 is coming out, because that way you are keeping the price down, and then you're buying. People keep buying the Switch. Now you have bigger lineup, you have better library. Now, to answer your question about the Pro, I say that they don't need the Pro at this time, But I do believe that at least, at a minimum, a year into the PlayStation 5 or Xbox One, Xbox 2 life cycle, Caleones, you need to have a Pro. I don't think you needed the date that Sony releases, but I believe you need it a year in, at least at a minimum. You need the Pro. So to me, it's more price drop. I think it's more key than the Pro, because the Pro is always going to be for more hardcore gamers. The Switch at this point, when Nintendo's already selling to the hardcore. What they need to do now is penetrate the casuals who buy the systems, right? That's the people who are next. And doing the price drop will help with that, Caleones. So.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, yes, it needs to happen. But something else that I would like for them to invest on is for, better cloud service or better streaming when it comes to, like streaming game, because, that's where we're heading. That there's, always going to be people like us where we like to buy the physical media, the physical games. But at some point, it's just going to be mostly digital. And because, digital, you don't have to worry about publishing the cartridges or the Blu-rays. You don't have to worry about just shipping. You don't have to worry about stores. Having to basically separate a section of a store just so you can have your display of games and things like that. So you don't have to worry about any of those things because people are going to buy it digitally, and it's going to be a convenience for them because they can just pre-download a game, have it ready, clock hits midnight, and then you can start playing it. So I believe for Nintendo to do something like that, they're not quite ready for it. And of course, we've seen it because even I played a couple of online on Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and it was kind of shaky. It would either freeze or it would kind of stutter. For the most part, it was pretty good, a lot better than the Wii U version of the game when it came to the online. But still, you can see it struggling still. So Nintendo needs to invest on it. And for the Switch Pro, they need to make sure that not only do they improve on the hardware itself, but that also that hardware has a pretty good companion for cloud, for live streaming, because most of those games that are going to be available on the Xbox 2 or whatever you want to call it, available on the PS5, even though they may not be possible on a cartridge, because at some point you're going to have, you're going to start having games that are going to be 100 plus gigabytes on the cartridge itself. Like even Red Dead Redemption 2 has 2 separate discs, so you can download the game. So it's 2 separate discs, and we're talking about a Blu-ray disc. So that's how big it is. Plus, then you have updates on top of that. So what we're gonna need is some way for the Switch to continue to play those games, and that's gonna be a pretty good way is to invest on that portion, so they can still continue to get games, maybe not physically, but at least streaming, so you can get those and get a higher quality on those as well. Pretty much the same way that we've seen Resident Evil 7 or the Assassin's Creed, either Origins or the other one that they have it in Japan, so you can play it by streaming.
We shall see. We shall see what they do. What is up, RX Gaming? Welcome. Long time no see. We do need to talk to you later about a possible show that me and Caleones wants to do in a future channel, different channel. So we'll talk to you about that later. So connect on Twitter with Caleones in January. I think we're gonna meet up and discuss that after Christmas break for sure. Anyway, so Caleones, moving to the sales of the remaining. I mean, there's a lot of good sales that happened for the Switch this week. A lot of good news. Go ahead now with Japan and the 6 million.
Okay, so we're talking about Japan, right?
Yep.
Just make sure I'm on the right article.
Yeah, you're good.
So hey, going back to it, is that the Nintendo Switch has finally surpassed the 6 million units sold in Japan, and we're talking about systems. And how big is this? Is that it's actually already surpassed the lifetime sales of the PlayStation Vita when it comes to Japan. Yes, Vita didn't really sell well around the world, but in Japan it was still big. It was a big house for Japanese niche or JRPGs as well. But that's how big the sales in Japan have been. 6 million units, and this is before 2018 is over. Not quite 2 years yet. 2 years is going to be next year on March 3rd. So how big is this? Like I think it is on track to maybe next year surpass the lifetime sales of the PS4 in Japan. But like surpassing the PS Vita numbers there, that's pretty big. It's gonna take a lot to get to the 3DS numbers, and much less the PS2 and DS and all of those. So we're not even gonna mention those. But what do you think about the 6 million units sold so far?
I think it makes sense. We always talked about it. We always keep saying that this is the perfect console for the Japanese market, Caleones. So I'm not surprised. I am really not surprised the Switch will own the Japanese market. So congratulations. I don't have much to say on this one because honestly, it just makes too much sense why this system would have been such a hit in Japan, right, Caleones? And I think what that is helping the Switch in the long term is there is going to be a more of a Japanese dominance on the Switch itself. So now you're going to see where they used to reside on the PlayStation. All those companies will be moving to the Switch more with, with censorship and stuff like that that's going on right now. I think it's going to be fine. I think this will have a good lasting effect on Nintendo. Then now they will own the Japanese market, which includes they're going to get a lot of possible Japanese exclusives, Caleones. So.
And I mean, yeah, like it's just going to be a matter of how it continues. Like it seems we're going to get the Dragon Quest Builders 2. We're going to get Dragon Quest 11 in 2019. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is going to be coming along. All the, pretty much a big amount of the Final Fantasy games are going to be coming over to the system in 2019. So there, we're seeing an influx of Japanese RPG games that are coming over. Persona 5 is being rumored as well, and of course, it was a little convenient that the rumor started after the DLC character was announced. So, but still,
even though here we made that prediction a long time ago, just saying. So someone around here just did that prediction.
Yeah, but we're not gonna gloat about it.
Gloat about it. Yes.
No, but yeah. Anyways, like, if we continue to see that influx, if we continue to see the support, if we have the same support, because we're still missing, and they should be coming out in 2019. We're talking about the like the S Attorneys, the Professor Layton, the Yokai Watch, like those type of games. They're gonna be coming on Switch as well. And there's, I mean, there, at least when it comes to the Ace Attorney, it's not going to be a console exclusive. The earlier games, because they're doing the re-release of the earlier games. The new one, it might or might not. They haven't said that one, but if Nintendo is able to keep a grasp of those type of games, which might not be triple A type games, but they're kind of like double A niche, but they have a big following, a big crowd, especially in Japan, they can definitely continue to do this, and maybe within the next year and a half, they can be, sell another 6 million units, or maybe even more. So maybe instead of 12, maybe they can be at 15, and very well on their way to surpass the at least, at the very least, the 3DS sales. So, yeah, I think they will continue, and it's going to continue to do great.
Okay, go ahead, Carlos, with the next one.
Okay, so going over to the next one, and this is coming from the UK, and talking about the sales over there. They said that the Nintendo Switch has sold so far 1.4 million units in the UK. We have the Xbox One at 5 million, and the PlayStation 4 at over 6 million units. So I'll say that when it comes to the Xbox One, it's pretty surprising that it's keeping.
It's not.
Well, I mean FIFA. And
no. Let me clarify. So this is not. Okay. This is UK only. This is not full Europe. There's difference. UK has always been Xbox territory. To clarify, like UK is strong Xbox, and I think Sony gaining that territory back was a big surprise. Like for sure. Trust me. So it's not surprising how well the Xbox have done. It is surprising how well the Switch in a short period of time has done in UK, Caleones. that's the big takeaway that I take from that is a console. Nintendo has not never had a strong region on the UK, and they're selling pretty well. That tells you how good the Switch as a console is.
Well, and I mean, yes, the Nintendo Switch has always had a struggle when it comes to the UK. It is not a system that, it's not really a territory. Yes, they may say, well, in other parts, especially France, they're pretty much king when it comes to France. But in the UK, it's always a struggle. They always gravitate to more towards the PlayStation 4. I mean, to me, I'm I see the Xbox One at 5 million, the PlayStation 4 at over 6 million. So they're almost there, at the same amount. But that's a stark contrast when it comes to the rest of the world. So Japan, the Xbox One is non-existent. They have no, I mean, they are not found there. They have no presence when it comes to Japan, outside of maybe selling 100 to 200 consoles a week at most. But in the U.S., where it used to be Microsoft, the biggest seller, they've been struggling as well. But and especially when you talk about the lifetime sales, because I believe the PlayStation 4 right now is at over 80 million either consoles either shipped or sold.
Yep.
So if you give them another year and a half to 2 years on the market, where once the PlayStation 5 comes out, you're still going to see the PlayStation 4 Slim selling cheaper.
They're gonna still selling that system.
And the PlayStation 4 Pro
they're
is
getting
going to
to
get
100 million.
So they're going to get to 100 million. So we're going to see that. But at least for my part, yes, there's a bigger contrast when it comes to the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. But this is, for people that don't know it, this is actually really great for Nintendo in the UK, because normally the sales over there is like Mario Kart 8. That's about the only game that sells good, and it's always pretty much tracking for the most part. But it's always a struggle over there. But this is great news, and it kind of gives me hope that the system will get to the 20 million units sold for fiscal year 2018, same as the over 1.3 million for November. It's surpassing the 6 million units in Japan. So hopefully they continue with that momentum and they can get to that. But it is great news with how they've done in the UK.
Yep, agreed. Go ahead, Caleones, with the next one. Or are we done with hot topics? I don't remember now.
We're done, so you can cut it off right now, so we can move on to the rapid fire.
Okay, so let's do that. We're done with hot topics, so we're moving to Anuma's news burst. And Caleones, let's go rapid fire. 58 minutes in, let's do really rapid fire. And tell me, what is the news in Anuma's news burst?
Okay, so one of the first news from the rapid fire. So it's going to be that we're talking about Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, the game that was purposely delayed to January to allow Smash to breed and get some sales and not steal sales from it. So they announced that on the 20th of this month, they're going to have a 2-hour presentation, and it's going to be found on the Suda51's, I believe, on their YouTube channel. So the 2-hour presentation is going to have a huge announcement. That's how they're putting it, unquote, huge announcement, which can be many things. So this is my possibilities, Dantes. You tell me what you believe could be, what you believe it is not. But my predictions from the announcements, or not really predictions, but what it could be. One, they're just going to announce the additional DLC for Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, and just tell you what the additional content is going to have. Two, maybe they're going to have No More Heroes 1 and 2 HD coming over to the Nintendo Switch. Maybe that's going to be another announcement. Maybe the other announcement could be that Travis is going to be featured as a DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or that they are making No More Heroes 3 for the Nintendo Switch. So it could be any of those four. Which one would you consider a huge announcement, and which one of those would you say is actually realistic?
Well, he already stated that No More Heroes 3 would only happen if Travis Strike Back sells. he stated it. That's the other piece of news on the news burst. I would say quick. I think it's maybe the remakes of the originals in HD. I think that's the biggest chance, Caleones. But honestly, I'm not interested about this game at all. So I I sometimes it feels, because I did a video a long time ago, 2008, when I was criticizing Nintendo fanboys for not buying games like No More Heroes, right? Because at that point, Nintendo fans were not buying third-party games, and No More Heroes was a good game. And another game that I gave him crap was Mad World, too, from Platinum Games, too. Great artistic-looking game, if you guys haven't played that game. So, I know it's fanboys, but the excitement feels kind of hypocritical because it is a Switch exclusive, then that's why people are interested in it. Really? You guys had a chance. You had plenty of chances a long time ago for this game, so I don't know, Caleones. I'm not hypocritical. I am not excited at all about this game at all, even though I did like No More Heroes 1. So,
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll say it's still going to be pretty huge deal. It is a very unique game, and it's something that now more than ever it's going to sell well. I mean, we've already seen it with other games being ported over, to the Switch. So even though the Wii crowd may have not gravitated towards this game and picked it up, like one would assume that, like if you have 100 million consoles, so that it would, sell pretty well. But now with the Switch, I think it would get up there when it comes to the sale. So I believe it's going to be an announcement of the HDs 1 and 2. Like you said, they're waiting to see how this game sells to see if they're going to consider doing No More Heroes 3. Maybe he just said it because they're already working on the game and they wanted to do a proper announcement. Maybe that could be the case, but we're going to take their word because it's coming directly from them. So I believe it's going to be the HD versions, but I still would like to have Travis and that pseudo lightsaber on Smash. I think it would be pretty cool to have it on there. So we'll see. But like I said, 20th, 2-hour presentation, and we're gonna get the announcements on that date. Moving on to the next one, and this is like you said, from Suda51, that they said that Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, if it does sell well, they will be considering bringing No More Heroes 3 to the Switch. And this is exactly how he said it. And I quote, nothing is set in stone yet, and of course, it'll depend on the success of Travis Strikes Again. But I am working on an outline for No More Heroes 3, a proper direct sequel for the series, and it's going to be connected to Travis Strikes Again in a big way. Because in No More Heroes 3, Travis is going to go up against crazier adversaries than he ever has before. It's going to be bloodier, more intense battles between assassins. It's going to be kind of like the Avengers, Thanos level of crazy villains. And he continued, in order for Travis to stand a chance against these powerful foes, I wanted to give Travis the chance to enter these different game worlds and power up to learn some new skills and gain some more strength so that ultimately I can work to make Travis a more prominent character in video game history overall. The skill chips that you saw Travis collecting in Travis Strikes Against game world, I want Travis to take those with him to the next game, the next numbered installment. So at least it sounds like, the way that they're going to start No More Heroes 3, it's not going to be where, he has an accident, goes in a coma, forgets all the abilities that he had, and then when he wakes up, he has to start from level 1 to, kind of like level up, like you would do on an RPG game. So, it's like, sounds like big stakes, maybe like, like the Bayonetta games where they're always big stakes, big spectacle, big events happening. So maybe he's going for something like that. But like he said, and this is Suda51, that people, if you want No More Heroes 3, go out there and buy Travis Strikes Again. And I believe they haven't announced the price of the game, but I believe there's going to be a physical copy of the game for $40, which includes the game and the DLC. And there's going to be a standalone price for the game digitally on the eShop without the DLC for $30. That's what it's circling around. It hasn't been confirmed, but they believe that that's going to be the final price for it. So we'll see. Anything else you want to say, Dantes?
No, because we cover it mostly. So keep going.
Okay. So, well, and after talking about the sales and everything from the Nintendo Switch, Reggie actually stated that he is confident that they will reach 20 million units for the Switch. But we have the Nintendo troll, Michael Pastor, saying that he disagrees, that he doesn't think that they're going to get there. So he stated that Nintendo set this challenge for himself in spring, announcing it will sell 20 million units of the Switch in fiscal year 2018, a lofty number considering it shipped 15 million over the previous 12 months through the first half of the fiscal year. 5 million Switch consoles were sold, meaning Nintendo will have to move 15 millions in 6 months. So, yes, 5 million consoles were sold throughout the first 6 months, starting in March or April 1st of 2018. And that was because you could argue that Nintendo didn't have the heavy hitters that they had in 2017. So they didn't have Zelda Breath of the Wild at launch. They didn't have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe releasing the next month. They didn't have ARMS releasing the month after, or Splatoon 2 releasing almost 2 months afterwards. And then you had Mario, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle releasing then. Then you had, of course, Monster Hunter coming out in Japan, and then a month or so after, then you had Super Mario Odyssey, and then a month and a half afterwards, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So it was kind of like a perfect storm of big games in 2017, which allowed the system to sell those 15 million units. But only 5 this year, so they didn't really have the big hitters. They had the Bayonetta games, they had the Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze remake as well. They had the Nintendo Labo, which Nintendo, it seems like they were banking a lot on it, and it didn't really sell well. And it seems like the holiday season, which was the perfect season for it, it still didn't sell as well during that. So we might not get to see a Toy-Con Pack 4 for Nintendo Labo, but he is saying that
Thank God.
you just hate cardboard.
Yeah, I hate all that crap on my in the basement right now. Yes. But anyway, Caleones, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they're gonna make it. Pure and simple. Since we're in news burst, I don't think they're gonna make it, but they'll get close. I think they'll make it to the 50 million again. And I think that's nothing to scoff at. In 2 years, you sold 30 million Switch consoles. It's double what you sold with the Wii U. I think Nintendo should be really happy, even if they don't reach the 20.
But I think it's still going to be close because of the impact of Pokemon, the impact of Smash, and it really all depends on what games they have lined up for January. Which January they have the new new Super Mario Brothers Deluxe edition. In January, February, and March, we don't know yet. It might be Yoshi. They said it might be Animal Crossing, might be Fire Emblem. So who knows what games they're gonna have ready for those? But it's gonna be close. We said that our prediction was that it might get close to it. Like even if they sell like 17, 18 million, that's a lot of systems sold for the year, and that's a huge success for Nintendo. But because they said it was going to be 20 that they expected to sell, anything short of that, people are just going to run with it and say that it was a disappointment. So, yeah, Nintendo Rack Yamato on the chat is saying that we need the Kingdom Hearts games. Yes, we need those. They have the before Kingdom Hearts 3, they have the collection of games are releasing where you can pretty much play all of them up until Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's something like that would be perfect to come out on the Switch. I don't know how possible Kingdom Hearts 3 would be if it's done on the Unreal Engine, which I'm not sure. It would be more possible for it to be made. But yes, games like those would certainly help to get the system sales up there. But it's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be close. I said they were gonna get to like 19 million. You said something like 17, 18. So we'll see. But if they get there, even more power to Nintendo because even if they do 17, 18, that's great for the Switch.
Okay, go with the next one.
Okay, going over with the next one, and this is talking about Reggie and in the U.S. and the attach rates, saying that the games or the system is performing at historical levels when it comes to the attach rate. He said, in terms of traditional attach rate, the Nintendo Switch is performing at historic levels. As we sit here today, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, each one did attaching at better than 50%, meaning each of these games in the United States across the population of hardware consume 1 out of every 2 consumers that bought those games. And we've never seen 50% attach rates to begin with, and seeing that across 3 different games coming up to our second holiday is completely unheard of. So it seems like they've never had a 50% attach rate when it comes to games and any Nintendo system ever, and we already have 3 of those games that are attached at over 50% on the Switch in the US. Those are going to be evergreen titles. I believe that people that buy the Nintendo Switch in the US, more than likely, they're going to be picking up those games. And so I think it's going to continue. Smash is probably going to be another one where it's going to be up there as well. So we'll see if it continues. But are you surprised about those games and 1 out of every 2 people picking it up?
No, because Nintendo games always had good attach rates, and you can see that with the Wii U. Wii U didn't sell much, but Nintendo was able to make some money because the attach rate was pretty good. So I'm not surprised.
Okay, and going over with the next one, and this is for those of you that have been waiting to pick up the Nintendo Classic consoles, it might be time for you to just go ahead and buy, get it, and just get it over with because uh, Reggie stated that once they sell out, they're going to be gone. They're not going to be producing any more. And this is a question that was posed to Reggie from an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and they asked, "Do you have plans for doing another classic console in the future? Do you expect to release any more games on the classic consoles that have already been released?" And Reggie stated that there's no ability for add-on content with our classic consoles. So when you purchase the console, it's coming with that set roster of content. We worked very hard both for the NES Classic and the Super NES Classic to really have the best games that define that generation. We've said that the current systems are the extent of our classic program. We've also been clear that, at least from an American's perspective, these products are going to be available throughout the holiday season, and once they sell out, they're gone. And that's it. The way that consumers will be able to continue participating with our classic content is going to be through Nintendo Switch Online, and we just released 3 new games, Ninja Gaiden, Warriors Woods, and Adventures of Lolo, from the next generation onto that platform. We look at that as the main way that consumers will be able to experience that legacy content. So the question I'm going to pose to you, Dantes. Why do you believe Nintendo is going to discontinue the NES and Super NES classics? And does it have anything to do with the Switch Online?
So quickly, Yamato, I will say this. I believe the Kingdom Hearts 3 deserves to be more on the Switch than the Xbox because Nintendo has had historically some Kingdom Hearts games. Dragon Quest 11, yeah, it's gonna be a good game. So if you're gonna wait for that one there, that's gonna be cool. And of course, yes, it does support the Unreal Engine 4, so they should be able to do some work with Kingdom Hearts. Now going back to Caleones' questions, I think it's as simple as that. Yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to put all those games. They want it as a service. They want to create value on the Nintendo Online because that is something that is struggling Caleones with, is value. So they want to create as much value as possible, and they could see the NES and Super NES Mini creating reducing the value of the Nintendo Switch Online in a sense because you got the best games on those 2 systems, right? Now, will this impact the N64 Mini? I think that's the big question. I don't know. I think it shouldn't because I don't think they're going to put N64 games at this time. And I think that's the only one that I really want and was interested in as a micro console. But we shall see, Caleones. I think that if you guys want it, go buy it right now because they're once they're sold, they're gone.
Okay, going with the next piece of news, and you know, we had the experience out with the Game Awards. We had Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft represented on stage at the same time, and they interviewed Reggie Fils-Aimé. This is coming from IGN about his experience on there. So um, talking about E3, for example, he said that E3, those 5 days, is the opportunity for the world to find out what's new for video games as entertainment. And during that time, we generated more engagement than whether it's CES or Comic Con or big entertainment events. People tune in to find out what's new and to have first player experience for an industry. That's why E3 is important to Nintendo. Then he continues, our mentality has been to constantly innovate what we do and how we message at E3. We've innovated in how we utilize our boot space to create a little piece of Hyrule or to create a little piece of the environment in Super Mario Odyssey as examples. We innovate in how we deliver our messaging, whether it was the big stage productions or whether it's direct communications that we do today. So I'm gonna kind of like skip a little on here. But we know that next year, or at least up until this point, Sony said that they're not going to be at E3. So this actually gives a chance for Nintendo to either grab a bigger piece of the the booths and the space on there, or probably for Microsoft to expand unless they want to do it at the Microsoft Theater. So based on what Sony is going to be doing at E3 or not doing at E3 next year, do you see the Nintendo presentation changing in any way? What are your expectations from Nintendo for 2019?
So quickly, Yamato, we did talk about that. So it's one of the predictions that we have in this show. So if you want to go back, we do believe the Sora should be there. In my opinion, at least in mine, Sora should be in Smash. Anyway, cool drummer, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. I know we've been all over the place with our streaming this month, but we'll be back to normal in January, hopefully, or at least in February once we give the new shows out. But so to clarify, I think the opportunity for Nintendo is just to have a really good show with a lot of good games. I don't think they need to do anything special in reality. I don't think Microsoft's going to do anything special. You're going to see, we're going to go to E3. There's going to be a big hole because Sony is not there, and there's going to be some miss about that action, about who did better. But I think for Microsoft and Sony, they just need to show games, right? And even though last year we gave Microsoft the win because of what they showed, it was mostly third-party stuff. So in reality, even Microsoft, because they don't have the many exclusives, I think this is Nintendo's next year's to win in reality, and more. If give you an example, if they bring a couple of surprises, if they show, this is be my best case scenario for me. If they show the new game from Monolith Software they've been working on, right, that would kill. That would win E3 for me. If they show footage for Metroid Prime 4 for the first time, that would win. If they finally show what Retro has been working on, oh God, where the hell is Retro? That would be fire too. So there's stuff that Nintendo has. If they show a new 2D Zelda game, you may know, or one of those remakes, right? So I think Nintendo has the best chance to basically run away with the E3 next year.
Okay, going with the next piece of news, and this is from the Game Awards, and Geoff Keighley stated that 2018 Game Awards had 26 million live streams, and that's actually double from what they had from last year. So what he said on the tweet, he said, this year viewership of the Game Awards more than doubled over last year to 26 million live streams. This is simply unbelievable. Thank you for watching and supporting us across these past 5 shows. Gaming only keeps growing. So they actually Twitch, the peak viewers on Twitch were actually 1.13 million viewers at the same time. So that was a pretty huge deal. And do you see, Dantes, are you impressed with these numbers? Do you see it growing? What do you see going forward from the Game Awards?
Not growing, but it's stable around those numbers. I mean, if you account for that, they have more viewership than the Oscars, right? So that's pretty good. and I think this system works streaming, so they're gonna get more new game announcements next year. You can see it growing that way now. So now that they have the audience, I see them having more game announcements, and I see them having more how you call it, not publishers, but people selling their ads in the Game Awards. So you're gonna see a little bit more commercialized next year. But you have to do that because this is about making money, and this is the whole point. So I'm not gonna criticize him for that. So I do believe that it's gonna grow bigger, but not in size of audience in the show itself, right? It's becoming the Oscars of video games now.
Okay, going with the next piece of news, and this is actually coming from a lawsuit document from Nintendo. They actually had wording on there, and it said, among Nintendo of America's newest video game consoles is the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch users can purchase games either digitally from the official Nintendo Switch online shop, formerly Nintendo eShop, or in physical copies on cartridges specifically manufactured for use with Nintendo Switch consoles. So, of course, the big takeaway from here is how they're calling it the Nintendo Switch online shop, referred to as, formerly the Nintendo eShop. So, Dantes, are you surprised that Nintendo is going to be perhaps changing the name of the Nintendo eShop to Nintendo Switch Online? And do you think that's a big deal?
It's not a big deal. They're probably trying to unify the naming convention of their online system or online network like PlayStation and Xbox have done. So, not surprised. Not a big deal.
Okay, going with the next one, and we're down to two more. So, of course, it's Charles Martinet, and you guys know him as the voice of Mario. He has been given Guinness Book of World Records for voicing the same character 100 times. So, with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that was actually Charles Martinet's number 100 game of voicing Mario. And it was actually a pretty nice occasion. Hopefully, even more people are going to get to know him and know the real voice of Mario. So it's not the WWF guy that was voicing him like on the cartoons or back then, or impersonating him. So it's pretty nice story. Anything you want to add?
Not much. I mean, he only says like 3 lines, so I mean, it's not like Yahoo! Ha ha! Mario, it's me, the Mario. That's what he says in the game. If this was like, I don't know, example, Nolan North doing the 100th Uncharted game, that I'll be more impressed because he has to do a full script when reading. I mean, he says 4 lines of dialogue in the game, so it's not that hard.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll see more of him if PlayStation All Stars would have been successful, or the PlayStation Carts or PlayStation something else. But yeah, they missed out on that opportunity of having him voice, like Drake for Nathan Drake. I want to say
simple as when Sony copies, a lot of times it works out, but a lot of time it does not. And the PS1 Classic is a perfect example of that. And that's going to be my first topic on Boiling Point. So I had a lot to say, right, Caleones, on that. So hopefully you guys will see that in the 24th of December. But
well, I mean, before we go to the last announcement, do you want to make the proper announcement of the new show that you're thinking about doing, or that you will be doing?
I mentioned it on the house cleaning, but yeah, I want to do. It's called bowling. Keep saying bowling. Boiling. Damn it. Boiling Point. I should have picked a title that I could pronounce. Boiling Point. It's basically I'll pick a subject that really grinds my gears, and just go into town. And I had to go into town into Sony because they really screwed up with the PlayStation Classic, Caleones. They really screwed it up. So they don't deserve no pity. And I think the main subject that I talked about in that video was legacy, and how you can shed on your legacy when you have a good legacy, as good of a legacy as Nintendo's now, because you've been in a long time in the video game industry, and all the attempts that Sony does to represent that legacy is always bad. You mentioned PlayStation All-Stars, right? A chance that you could have showed the legacy, but then you put a crappy game on it. And when you play Smash Ultimate, you can see that it's not only about playing the best Nintendo characters, the gameplay is there with that game, how polished it is. You see what I'm saying, Caleones? And you never had that with PlayStation Classic. So it's Sakurai deserves a lot of credit why Smash is so good and how he had built that legacy. But Smash is always was about building legacy. PlayStation seems to not know how to sell the legacy, and I think that's a big discussion point that I'm going into. My first episode boiling point this Tuesday, the 24th of December. So
Tuesday is actually the 25th.
No, it's 24th.
It's 25th.
Oh, the 25th?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, 24th is Monday, 25th is Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, then maybe Monday. I should put it on Monday. I don't want to put it until 25th.
I mean, it's going to be a good Christmas present, to release our new show. So if it's going to be a Tuesday show, we got to keep with the schedule.
It will be a Tuesday show, to clarify. That boiling point is going to be Tuesday show. But I want feedback.
I'm laughing at Jose Flores' comment on there.
Yeah, I know the Soldier Boy console, but I do want the feedback, peeps. So I want you guys to come in and watch the show. Give me feedback. I will be mentioning every show that we do live. I'll mention you guys to go to that show because I want your feedback. It's a first attempt of something different. Caleones also will be doing more news, and he's also has a game that he's gonna review and have a lot of content coming up. We can't say anything yet, but
well, I can give the title. So
you give the title. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So it's gonna be Y2K postmodern RPG. So Y2K postmodern RPG is gonna be it's our JRPG from the US. So it's an American JRPG. It takes place during the 90s. And I actually appreciate it's taking place during the 90s because that's one of the decades that you don't really see on movies, on TV shows. Yeah, usually you go over to the 80s or you go to the 70s, 60s, 50s, or present time. But the 90s is people don't really, they overlook it unless it's the This Is Us TV show, which it takes place in the 90s. But aside from that, Y2K postmodern RPG. We're going to be doing, I'm going to be posting the full playthrough of the game. But aside from that, we're going to be doing the review. If there's any other articles or any other videos specifically for either characters or anything else, we're going to be doing that. And the game releases on January 17th. So I'm going to have to wait until that day. So, to give you my review, to give you those things, I can do the playthrough of like the first level or so, but aside from that, everything else will have to wait until the embargo lifts on the 17th.
Yep. So the reason I'm mentioning that, so Caleones is gonna be doing more news, and I'm gonna be doing more rants and topics like that, because we're reducing our streams, right? Streaming, it was fine, it helps out, but I don't think YouTube viewership like streaming that much. So we'll see how it goes. We're changing the channel a little bit, but expect more news. The last episode of Caleones News, which was the Fortnite one, got good views, Caleones. So I think we want to start trying to do some more scripted type of shows. Now, to clarify, my show is not that scripted. It's still gonna be out of my heart how it comes out. But
yeah, I might convince Dantes to bring his old music video from his old channel to our new channel. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we shall see. But anyway, Cali, I don't know if you have any more news. Let's finish this because we're only it was supposed to be a short show, okay, and we're already an hour and a half.
So the very last piece of news, and this is a big one, the real winner of the Game Awards Best Music Game, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Kingdom of Torna is now on iTunes. So if you guys love the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack, if you
Kingdom Hearts?
listen to our, I mean to Xenoblade
Xenoblade.
Chronicles 2. I said yeah, if you appreciate Xenoblade Chronicles 2 soundtrack, if you listen to our podcast and you listen to our outro music that Dantes always puts on there, that he's always banging his head to, go over to iTunes. It is now available. Pick it up. Enjoy it. Like I said, the real winner of the Game Awards Best Music is available to you now.
So the sad part is that, see, the game that did not get nominated for Best Music, they keep putting their music on iTunes compared to other games. They don't put their OST on iTunes. But that just tells you how much people love the music of Xenoblade. But with that said, we're done, Caleones. Do you want to do the Shigeru Supermarket, or do we just cut it because there's not many good games?
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, the games that came out for this week. So we have Solar Flux, and well, you might. I'm not gonna do it without you doing the sound effect.
Anyway, so let's go to Shigeru's Supermarket. Done. Go ahead. Now you can do it.
Okay, so games that came out this past week are Solar Flux, Kingdom Two Crowns, Everspace Stellar Edition, Eden Meteor Hunter, Desert Child, Venture Towns, Tribit Logic, Starman, Sega Ages Fantasy Star, Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures, Rain World, Party Arcade, Oxjet, Omen Side Definitive Edition, Mind Path to Talamus, actually, Mayon Solitary Fresh, Knights of Pen and Paper Bundle, Knights of Pen and Paper 2 Deluxe Edition, Hunter's Legacy Perfect Edition, Grizz, Blue Rider, Big Bash Boom, Atari Flashbacks Classics, Arcade Archives Athena, All Might 3 The Last Dreamer, Neo Geo's Metal Slug 5, Race Arcade, Peace Dead Complete Edition, and Lazy Galaxy Rebel Story. So we can't really tell you what our game of the week is because we've been playing Smash. I mean, I haven't really played anything else, just Smash. So Smash for a second week in a row. Okay.
I played Transistor. I beat it again. So I played Transistor and I'm playing Smash now. So good. Thank you, Caleones. But let's end the show because I'm really feeling I'm feeling tired. Once I hit the 1 hour mark, my energy level went bloop. But anyway, Xenoblade music, right? There we go.
Out there, get on iTunes, buy it, enjoy it.
Enjoy it, exactly. Awesome. The best music soundtrack in the industry. But I want to thank everybody who stopped by and watched us at the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast, episode 73, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell. People, hit that bell because YouTube sometimes don't put us in the subscription box. We got 1,000 subscribers, so we need more views. Come on, peeps. Also, if you don't want to see ugly faces, we got a solution for you. You can go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can choose to leave. Also, go to the description box below so you can see the full channel schedule. Also, Facebook page at 14 Unison Gaming. And finally, and that test says finally, go to forceinunison.wordpress.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, thank you again for joining us. Long live Nintendo. You guys? Yeah, we're cutting out. Bye, people.